A 55-year-old mystery about a Canadian woman who seemingly fell off the face of the earth was partially solved earlier this month with the announcement from Metro Police that human remains were found in the desert.
But there was a bigger surprise when police mentioned who might be responsible for that woman's death. 8 News Now Chief Investigator George Knapp here with the two names that reach back to the bloodiest days of the mob in Las Vegas.
Early in the Martin Scorsese movie Casino, there's a shot that glides across the Mojave, and the narrator, Joe Pesci's character, casually notes there are a lot of holes out there in the desert outside of Las Vegas, implying there are also a lot of bodies buried out there by the mob. Two of the most prolific killers of that era were not members of the mafia, but they handled dirty deeds for the mob and for many other powerful interests. And now their names have surfaced in connection with the remains of a Canadian woman missing since the late 60s.
And foul play was suspected, but Anna was never located, and the investigation went cold.
Police in Calgary were pouring through old missing persons files when they spotted a clipping about a woman last seen as she boarded a bus in 1966. Anna Sylvia Just had seemingly vanished. Calgary police discovered that their predecessors had been in touch long ago with detectives at Las Vegas Metro. Some of the missing woman's possessions, including her passport, were found in the desert outside of Henderson in 1968. 2 years later, and a mile away, hikers found remains of a person whose skull had been crushed, clearly a murder victim. Police did not have DNA as a tool back then, so the dots remained unconnected, but Metro Homicide preserved the evidence which allowed the new breakthrough. What Metro shared with Calgary police was chilling.
There was reports from police down there that she had potential ties to the mob. Do you guys have to work with Las Vegas Metro to find out who her killer was, or is that strictly their file at this point?
We'll be in communication with Las Vegas, and since we initiated this and reached out to them, it's been a great collaboration.
Somewhere in Metro's cold case files, detectives found a connection between Anna Sylvia Just, the missing woman, and one of the most notorious killers in Las Vegas history, Tom Hanley. Metro had learned that the missing woman had possibly borrowed money from Hanley. It was a bad decision. Who was he? He'd been a key figure in several Las Vegas labor unions as far back as the 40s, but to homicide detectives, Hanley was a notorious assassin, one half of a murder-for-hire team. His partner was his son, Granby Hanley. They reportedly carried out contract killings for the mob, for casino owners, and for union bosses.
These people were total cold-blooded killers. They were probably two of the most active contract murderers in the western states' history, I'm sure. They were up for hire. They were enforcers.
The late homicide detective Dave Hatch took over cold case files late in his career. He opened up to us back in 2001 for a KLAS TV special about the Hanleys. Hatch says Metro files show the Hanleys were the prime suspects in at least 7 murders here, but the true number might be 3 times that. Hanley was arrested multiple times over the years, but charges were mostly dropped because key witnesses were themselves murdered. One witness who heard the Hanleys discuss many of their bloody plans was Wendy Hanley, Tom's common-law wife. Wendy, who was 40 years younger than her husband, lived with Tom and Granby. Years ago, she escorted us out to a desert area where one of the Hanley victims was found.
This was their favorite place of dumping areas.
Wendy says Tom and Granby would stash bodies in old mine shafts or desert spots where humans rarely tread. The recent news about the Canadian murder victim would seem to fit that pattern. The death that brought an end to their murder-for-hire enterprise was that of culinary union boss Al Bramlett, Nevada's most powerful union official. Bramlett and Tom Hanley were close. Tom and Granby were suspected of firebombing several Las Vegas restaurants which tried to go non-union, and law enforcement suspected Bramlett had hired them to plant the bombs. During that same period, the International Culinary Union wanted to seize control of the Las Vegas local and its lucrative health and welfare fund. Al Bramlett resisted, and when the mob put out a contract on him, Bramlett hired the toughest guy he knew for protection, Tom Hanley. That backfired when the Hanleys kidnapped Bramlett, drove him out to the desert west of Mountain Springs, and then
Tom had taken Al out of the van, gave him a couple of drinks of whiskey, and then shot him in the head.
A 2-week search for the kidnapped Bramlett failed to find him until a tipster revealed where the body was buried. That set off a multi-state search for the Hanleys, who were eventually found hiding in Arizona. When Tom was flown back to Las Vegas to stand trial, he said this to waiting reporters.
Al Bramlett helped feed my family. Al Bramlett's given me work. He was one of the best friends I ever had.
Police in Calgary have praised the cooperation with Metro in identifying Anna Sylvia Just. DNA from her 97-year-old sister confirmed the connection. But how did the ill-fated sister cross paths with the Hanleys?
Do we know how the two were connected?
No, I'm not going to speak to any of that right now. That'll be a Las Vegas questions to answer.
We reached out to Metro. Tom and Granby Hanley eventually entered witness protection and gave testimony to several grand juries about contract killings and their knowledge of organized crime. Both died, one in a hospital, the other in prison. Wendy Hanley co-wrote a book about her time with the father and son. You can find a link to our 2001 special, In the Company of Killers, on YouTube.